Maps are supposed to represent reality. Every line, every border, every name is meant to point to something that physically exists. Cities you can visit. Roads you can drive. Countries you can cross. But what happens when a place appears on official maps, sometimes for decades, yet no one can find it in real life? No ruins. No population. No physical evidence. Only a name, printed where something should be. Tonight, we explore one of the strangest geographical mysteries ever recorded, places that exist on maps, but nowhere else. The island that wasn't there for centuries, sailors relied on maps for survival. One wrong chart could mean shipwreck or death. So when an island repeatedly appeared on respected nautical maps, no one questioned it. One such place was Sandy Island, located between Australia and New Caledonia. It appeared on maps for over 100 years, including modern digital maps and official databases. Satellite imagery even showed a dark mass where the island was supposed to be. But in 2012, a scientific expedition sailed directly to its coordinates. They found nothing. No land. No sand. No rocks. Just open ocean. The ship's depth sensors revealed water over 4,000 feet deep where the island should have been. Sandy Island had never existed, yet somehow, it had survived generations of cartography, modern technology, and digital mapping systems. How does a place that isn't real stay on maps for over a century? The phantom settlements islands aren't the only things that vanish. Across Europe, Asia, and Africa, explorers have reported phantom towns, locations marked on maps but missing entirely on the ground. Travelers would follow coordinates only to find empty forests, deserts, or plains. No buildings. No ruins. No signs of abandonment. In some cases, locals living nearby had never even heard the town's name, despite it appearing on national maps. Historians suggest some of these places were copied from older maps without verification, a mistake repeated again and again. But that doesn't explain why multiple travelers independently claimed to briefly see structures before they disappeared again. The mountains that don't exist in the late 19th century, maps of Central Asia showed massive mountain ranges that explorers swore they saw from a distance. They were named, measured, and officially recorded. But when later expeditions reached the locations, the mountains were gone. Flat land. Rolling hills. Nothing close to what had been documented. Some scientists blamed optical illusions, atmospheric conditions that bend light over long distances. But critics argue that entire mountain systems cannot be imagined by multiple trained observers across different years. So what were they seeing? The case of Agloe, New York. Perhaps the most famous example of a map-only place is Agloe, New York. Agloe was never meant to be real. It was invented in the 1930s by mapmakers as a copyright trap. If another company copied the map and included Agloe, it proved plagiarism. But something strange happened. People began visiting Agloe. A store appeared. Road signs went up. Agloe became real, simply because it appeared on maps. When the copyright trap was exposed, Agloe was eventually removed. But for years, a fictional location existed physically because people believed it did. This raises an unsettling question. If belief can create a place, can disbelief erase one? The disappearing borders. Some places don't vanish entirely, they just slip between realities. Villages near disputed borders have reported appearing on maps under one country, while existing physically under another. In rare cases, residents claim their town moved after political redraws, even though no relocation occurred. Documents change. Maps updated. But reality felt altered. Some residents described waking up to new flags, new laws, and new borders, as if history had quietly rewritten itself overnight. Cartographic errors or something else? Skeptics argue these cases are simple mistakes, outdated data, copying errors, or misunderstood reports. And many likely are. But others remain unexplained. Why do some non-existent places appear across multiple independent map sources? Why do satellites sometimes show land where none exists? Why do explorers report brief sightings of places that later vanish? Some researchers suggest glitches in satellite imaging or data stitching errors. Others point to intentional misinformation, possibly left over from military deception programs. And then there are theories far stranger. The reality shift theory. A growing number of theorists believe some map-only places are evidence of reality instability. According to this idea, Earth may not be a single fixed version of reality, but a layered system. In rare cases, information from one version bleeds into another. A place exists in one timeline, but not in ours. Maps, records, and memories briefly align, until reality corrects itself. It sounds impossible, until you realize how often we trust data we've never physically verified. Why these places matter. Maps shape how we understand the world. They influence borders, ownership, exploration, and belief. When a place exists on a map, we assume it exists in reality. But these mysteries remind us of something unsettling. Reality is not always as stable as we think. If an island can exist for a century without being real, if a town can exist only because it was printed, if mountains can appear and vanish, then how much of the world do we actually know? The final question somewhere right now, there may be a place printed on a map, waiting to be visited, that doesn't exist anymore. Or worse, a place that exists, but only briefly. And when it's gone, the only proof it was ever there will be a name, frozen in ink, on a map that refuses to forget it. If places can appear on maps without ever existing, what else have we accepted as real without question? Was it a mistake? A forgotten lie? Or proof that reality itself isn't as stable as we believe? These vanished locations leave us with one unsettling truth: sometimes, the map remembers things the world no longer does. If you enjoyed this mystery, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more unexplained stories that challenge reality itself. Until next time, stay curious, stay alert, and remember, not everything on the map belongs to our world.